PCN is brought to you in part by the following underwriters.
Welcome to PACTV Community News. We have a great show tonight. We go to Plymouth Airport for the launching of the new Aviation Program, take you on a historic walking tour of Duxbury's Snug Harbor, and hear an international chorus at Plymouth's Performing Arts Center.
We bring you to the completion event for the Public Art Initiative Project, take you to an underwater photography discussion at Kingston Library, and we learn more about Lyme disease from a community forum in Pembroke.
Town Talk brings Plymouth's assistant town manager to the set for a summer update.
Before we begin, we want to tell you about a new show PCN is adding in July called PCN Life. There are so many wonderful stories to cover in our towns, and we needed more time to bring them all to you. PCN Life will showcase more of our segments and will air right after this show Thursday nights, as well as its repeat times on the channel, which gives us more time on this show for local stories. Both shows will be available at our website and YouTube. Now we want to begin this week's show at a powerful vigil held in Plymouth for the victims of the Orlando nightclub. The Plymouth Area Interfaith Clergy Association recently hosted a service of prayer at the Church of the Pilgrimage as a way to honor and remember the victims of the Orlando massacre and their families. PCN spoke with the church's pastor as well as a member of the Plymouth No Place for Hate Committee before the event.
Tonight what we're really trying to do is show solidarity for the GLBTQ community and the Latino community for the horror and the deep sorrow that we've all experienced, but they in particular have experienced with what happened in Orlando.
One of the things that would be important to me as the chair of the Town of Plymouth No Place for Hate Committee is for people to realize that Plymouth is a town that is committed to its citizens, that we will not tolerate any acts of discrimination, prejudice, and that we will support those groups who may have been wrongfully hurt. And that we are here to say we do not tolerate or accept outrageous behavior in our town.
I hope that we have people from many of the faith communities. I know in our leadership in the service we've worked to have some diversity there. I hope that we may have some young people. I think for young people in particular, these kind of events are very dismaying, and they may be folks who are struggling with their own sexual orientation and identity, and we'd like to be a place of comfort and welcome to them.
I believe that we're all one family, that humankind, we are the children of God, and that as citizens of the United States, we have to remember that we all are equal.
Well, I'll start with a welcome, and then we have an important reading by Martin Niemöller, who was a Protestant pastor who protested in Nazi Germany. Then there are some prayers that come from both the Christian tradition and the Muslim tradition. There's a couple that I know who just got married. They're Christian and Muslim, and so they're each going to read their respective part. Then there's some music, some beautiful music, and one piece will be sung by a young person from our church.
My first thought was, of course, we have to do something and unite and show people in our town how we feel and that we can come together and console one another. And then when I thought, well, what am I going to say after a week or so that no one else has said? Everyone else has said so much, and I thought, well, I need to talk about Plymouth, that here, that we unite here, and that we stand up here, and that we feel the pain of others no matter where they are in our country. And my concern is for my country.
Well, if I might say, our church community, the Church of the Pilgrimage, is an open and affirming church, meaning that we are reaching out to all, and we want to break down that sense of, oh, I don't know, fear and concern that the church is a judging place, and make our welcome truly to all.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the events in Orlando really hit everybody across the country. And I think that it's really great that even right here in your community, you can find a place to kind of mourn these events, because
Right.
it's only human and
Right.
it's natural. And that there's a community group that, you know, pledges to keep you safe and welcome you,
Right,
regardless of
right.
anything. I think
And
that's a
I love their
beautiful
name,
story.
the No Place for Hate, and the fact that it's an interfaith church is so important, the all-inclusiveness of it.
Yeah.
And you're seeing this happen in small towns all across the country. It's a polarizing, in a wonderful way, event that happened to make us just again and again and again stress to ourselves that there is no place for hate.
Yeah, and together,
Yeah.
it should be, we
Good
should be
for
doing
them.
this together.
Good
Yeah.
for them.
For the first time in the United States, students from Plymouth, England took the stage with students from Plymouth, Massachusetts as part of an international chorus series. There were 22 students from across the pond singing alongside 80 students from right here in Plymouth as part of this collaborative concert. A beautiful and inspirational story that PCN was happy to cover.
This evening what we've got is a concert here in Plymouth, Massachusetts. We've got a whole load of children from the local area, but we've brought over 22 children from Plymouth, UK. We've been communicating for well over a year now. They came over to see us last summer, and this is the reciprocal visit back over this way. And we've been sharing a repertoire, we've been learning songs across the Atlantic, we've been communicating, we've got children in touch with host families, and they've come along and having a fantastic musical and cultural experience here. And we've got a bit more happening tomorrow, but this is the pinnacle of it for the music.
It's an absolute big deal. In 2013, when we went to Plymouth, UK, we talked about one of the goals was student exchange. And one of those ideas that bubbled to the top was a choir. So there was the idea that came up that was choir students traveling. So it's a big deal tonight. The music will be fabulous. The sound will be fabulous. The crowd will be fabulous. But really what's the greatest thing of this whole week is the students spending time together.
We had a choir last year, as I say, when the Americans came over to see us. They joined a choir that was 100 strong, and we've had that choir carrying on rehearsing during the whole of this academic year from September. But what we also found was we have this smaller group within. So they've been rehearsing for an hour a week as a major choir with a few minutes after each rehearsal since we hit 2016. So not a lot of time together, but the critical thing is they're singers from the main choir, but what we saw in them was resilience, and they'll be good ambassadors, and they will enjoy being here in Plymouth, Massachusetts. If people come along tonight, what I'm really hoping is they will see the children, how they've worked together, how they've gelled together, how they've become a lovely community. We've got a lovely cross-section of songs. There are songs that mean something to both choirs and have joined together. There are songs that the composer has actually come along and helped us with this morning to make sure we've really got it spot on. And it's a really uplifting concert that we're going to have.
Recently, the Kingston Public Library hosted renowned underwater photographer Robert Michaelson, featuring photos that span decades and cover bodies of water up and down the eastern seaboard. Michelson's gathering on the evening discussed anadromous fish and the Jones River Restoration Project. PCN stopped by for a sneak peek.
Tonight, we were looking at the life histories of anadromous fish, species of fish that live in salt water and return to fresh water to reproduce. They include Atlantic salmon, striped bass, American shad, river herring, rainbow smelt, Atlantic and short-nosed sturgeon, and sea-run eastern brook trout. My photography has been published in local weekly newspapers, regional national magazines. My television's appeared on all the national broadcast networks, ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS, Discovery Channel, History Channel, Science Channel, every known affiliate you can imagine. First thing you need to do is be comfortable in the water. In order to be a good underwater photographer, underwater videographer, you have to be a good diver. So get proper training. Get comfortable in the water. Your camera is an extension of your body. I don't think about the diving part of it while I'm in the water. I'm concentrating on the image gathering. I don't really have a preference to talk about the American eel, but it's more relevant to the Jones River watershed, which is why I spent more time on that particular species. I'm particularly fond of the Atlantic salmon, where I spent 3 years of my life documenting their life history. I like the river herrings because they're silvery and they're shiny and they're a challenge to photograph. The American eel is different. No one else really has the pictures and video of the different life stages of that species. So to share that perspective with this audience, I'm sure meant a lot to them, especially where they have a strong population on the Jones River. Migratory fish are a great indicator to a healthy environment. When you have more fish returning to a Jones River watershed, that means that the watershed is healthy. If you remove the barriers, if you remove the dams and give these fish clear, unimpeded access to headwater rivers like headwater bodies like Silver Lake, you're going to be bringing back a larger population of rainbow smelt, American eel, river herring. They're going to attract larger predator fish, striped bass. You're going to have a larger striped bass fishery in Kingston Bay. It's a win-win all around when you bring back migratory fish and give them clear access to spawning habitat. You got a snapshot of a 30-year career tonight. And what I hope to do is impart with them the knowledge and the appreciation to want to become citizen scientists. I want these people to get vested in their local community. I want these people to do good and help restore the Jones River watershed.
The Duxbury Rural and Historical Society welcomed in the summer season with a nice walking tour through the Snug Harbor section of town. Local historian Tony Kelso led the group of over 25 people along the waterfront, and PCN tagged along.
Saturday, June 19th was an ideal day to be a town historian in Duxbury. That is, of course, if you're the town historian giving the Snug Harbor walking tour. Tony Kelso was the proud owner of that title on this beautiful day as he led a group of over 20 people through this historical little stretch of Duxbury.
The walking tour kicks off right here in the veranda behind the Nathaniel Windsor Jr. House. We'll do a loop through town, making several stops along the way, and we'll end up right back across the street on Washington Street. I've got my hat, I've got my sunblock, I'm ready to go.
And if you're not sure what a veranda looks like, take a gander. They certainly did it right here at the Nathaniel Windsor Jr. House. Before Kelso got his troops fired up for their little trek through town, he gave us an idea of what to expect.
Well, we walk around an area, we talk about the various places we're seeing there at the moment, the buildings, the people who built them, the businesses that might have been there, and then we talk about the things that used to be there, and sort of the history of the area kind of comes out as we walk around about, in the area, talking about how it evolved over time.
The first stop on the tour was just behind the estate at the town landing, where Kelso discussed how it came to be in 1900. And while it may just look like a parking lot, this area was mostly marsh, and over time it transformed into the boating hub that it's known as now. Staying close to the water, we headed over to what is now the Maritime School. But as you may have guessed, it wasn't always a school.
It was the original, the Sampson Shipyard Wharf, and then it became the Duxbury Coal and Lumber Wharf for many years, and it was a very active wharf where these schooners came in and offloaded lumber and coal and all kinds of things for business here, the Duxbury Coal and Lumber Company, and then that segued into what became the Duxbury Marine Railway business, which was a place that hauled up boats for the winter and things like that. And now that's transformed into the Duxbury Bay Maritime School.
The time of day was ideal because the tide was out, meaning there wouldn't be a lot of boat traffic, which in turn meant there wouldn't be a lot of street traffic to disrupt the walking tour. But I ran out of sunblock and needed to end the tour early, so I headed back down the road to where we started, thankful for all I'd learned on my little jaunt through Snug Harbor.
Reporting from downtown Duxbury, Brian Sullivan, PACTV Community News.
Every season has some kind of drawback to it. Winter has snow and cold, fall eventually becomes winter, and springtime feels like winter for the first half of it anyway. But summer? There's really nothing much wrong with summer except that it's tick season. Lyme disease and other tick-borne illnesses have spread across Massachusetts in the last 40 years and have become one of the nation's most commonly reported infectious diseases. We met with the experts who explained to us how not to become one of the statistics.
And 5 To me as a physician, it's important to do these outreach programs where I have an opportunity to educate the whole community about prevention, because if you prevent the illness, then you avoid all of the other complicated things that come with it.
Our first recommendation is not to get a tick on you in the first place. That's the best way to avoid these tick-borne illnesses. So being really aware of the places that ticks are present. It's forested areas, brushy areas, damp, cool, shaded, leafy, leaf litter. Many of these areas are in people's backyards or nearby their homes, so they go for casual walks and they acquire ticks in that process. If a person gets bitten by a tick, they may or may not, and it's infected, they may or may not get that bullseye rash. But as the doctor who was joining me tonight was saying, only about 20% of the cases have that sign or symptom of the rash. Certainly if you get the bullseye rash, get that treated immediately. But really be on the lookout for the other symptoms, fevers, achiness, malaise, or fatigue. Those are the signs that really should send you to the doctor.
Lyme disease is an epidemic, and the proportions of this epidemic are really devastating. So the CDC estimates at least 300,000 people per year get this disease, and many of them are not diagnosed properly and they're sick for years. About 35% of people, according from research of Johns Hopkins University researcher John Ockott, shows that despite early treatment, so early diagnosis and early treatment, about 35% of people will remain with chronic illness. So it's quite devastating. So it's important to remove the tick very carefully. So you want to have very fine tweezers with very skinny ends, and then catch the tick to where the mouth has attached to the skin and jiggle it very gently. You don't want to squeeze the tick at the belly, because otherwise you're injecting the contents of its belly into the bloodstream. So if you're able to do that, then you put the tick in a little container, and then you want to send it for testing. So University of Massachusetts Amherst does testing here in Mass for these ticks, so you know what illnesses it contained and you can share with your doctor. I hope that every person who attended today's lecture will practice prevention daily, especially in this area of the South Shore where there's an abundance of ticks, and I hope that will prevent many cases of Lyme disease because of that.
Cape Cod Community College offers many diverse programs both on the Cape and in the Plymouth area. Their newest venture is in aviation. The college just launched an airplane maintenance training program out of their new space at Plymouth Airport. Airlines such as Cape Air and JetBlue, as well as the Coast Guard, are lending support to the program, which provides skilled technicians for the aviation industry. PCN stopped at the ribbon cutting ceremony to see more.
Today we're actually unveiling the new Aviation Maintenance Center that we have to support our Aviation Maintenance Technician program, which features 2 certificates, one in airframe, which when you think of airframe, it's the body of the plane, and the other certificate is in power plant, which is the engine components and the fuel system components of the airplane. Cape Cod Community College is in we're going through the process now of getting the final FAA approval for our program, but eventually when this rolls out, we're hoping for the fall semester, it'll be a 12-month accelerated dual certificate program that students, when they're successfully completing both certificates, will be able to sit for the FAA certification. They'll be certified aviation mechanics, ready to go in the industry. It's a great opportunity, and it's an accelerated pathway. I just love the background noise that we have here, because obviously it brings home what we're all about, keeping aircraft flying. This is actually a game changer for Cape Cod Community College. We're really moving aggressively into a more of a traditional vocation, technical training. We've uncovered a need that industry has. Actually, early on when I arrived at Cape Cod Community College, I met with the Chief Operating Officer of Cape Air, and we talked about some needs that they had for trained workforce. And as we had that discussion, it became apparent that there is a need for individuals that have been trained and that have received the FAA certification as aviation mechanics. So we looked at a way to develop the program to get the investment that it takes to really build the program to go live. And we've worked with many in industry, some people that are connected with aviation, and our state representatives and our federal representatives. And today you see it's all coming together.
There's not a whole lot of females in the industry right now, so this program actually gives us that opportunity to be able to learn everything that we need to do to be just as good or better than the men. There's so much stuff that they have. Like, we have actually a welding simulator and everything, a paint simulator and everything, to help us learn how to do this stuff before we actually do it, so that we don't hurt ourselves or anyone else. But they have so much stuff that, you know, that we were given, and it's just like an amazing opportunity that I don't think most schools in the country have what we have.
Basically, I've been working with the FAA as well as Rich Audette, one of our other full-time faculty members, and a few of our part-timers, putting together the curriculum, making sure that we meet all the requirements through the CFR 14 with the FAA for a school program. We have to meet all those certification processes to make sure that what we teach here is up to the federal standard and covers all topics that the FAA requires for someone to have their airframe and power plant license. We are very excited for the program. I know myself as well as the other instructors, we're itching to teach. We're excited to get the students on board, and we do know that in the next 20 years, 25 years, there's going to be over 200,000 positions opening in the aviation industry for mechanics. And you know, the small part that we're able to do here at Cape Cod Community College, we're excited and looking forward to providing that service.
If you've noticed interesting park benches and chairs around town lately, you've seen the fruits of the Public Art Initiative project. These works of art brought several area schools together with regional and local artists in order to create pieces that will enhance the town's 2020 preparations. The project took off under the inspired direction of town planner Robin Carver. PCN met up with the project participants at the unveiling at the Plymouth Center for the Arts.
Additional pieces to give the artists a stipend for the materials and for their efforts.
Yeah, this is the opening reception for an initiative by the town of Plymouth and town planner Robin Carver. And the reason why the schools are involved is because Robin came to us and said, would the schools like to be involved and have some student work? So we have, I think, 5 pieces here, 2 from South High School, 2 from North High School, 1 from Nathaniel Morton Elementary School, where students designed and painted the furniture. It's public art, and we have Adirondack chairs and tables, picnic tables to be put outside, and benches. And so I think it was a pretty open theme, and just themes or imagery that was related to Plymouth. So there's a lot of ocean themes, there's a lot of fishing, there's a lot of underwater and above water and things about Plymouth. I think it's just a great opportunity for the public schools to get involved directly with the town in art projects, which we've done over the years, but to actually do artwork and put it out in the public so people, tourists and people from around the town can actually see the talent and the artistic ability of people and students particularly that live here in Plymouth. I think it's fabulous. I think this is a first of many public art opportunities. Robin Carver has done a great job working with the schools, working with the artists and the guild to bring public art out into the town of Plymouth.
Well, we're excited that we were able to collaborate with the town to continue our mission of promoting arts. And this has become being a public art initiative. This is just, for us, it just it expands and increases, you know, certainly the visibility of what we do. To have these wonderful benches, Adirondack chairs and picnic tables, you know, being so colorful out on the town, you know, waterfront and Main Street or wherever they may be, that it just speaks to the whole art community here. We have a tremendous, we have the new Plymouth Bay Cultural District, which is made up of galleries and restaurants and music performance spaces. And that this just goes to show you that there's more to Plymouth than just the rock. Today is the public unveiling. All the artists brought their work, you know, to our gallery so that we can have them in one place for everybody to see for the first time, and then also to recognize the artists themselves for all the work they have done. So it gives us a chance to thank them and see them before they get dispersed, because they're going to be in many, many places, so we have a way of looking at them side by side. It's just like going to any fine gallery. reception and seeing the artwork for the first time. It's a wonderful thing. Mostly, I think there's a lot of people who, in town here and in this art center, who give a lot of time to the town and to initiatives like this. And they really need to be thanked because this is what brings us together. It's our culture. It knows no boundaries. The people who do this are wonderful people, and we need to thank them all.
We're pleased today to have on Town Talk our Plymouth Assistant Town Manager, Derek Brindisi, to the set. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
This is the first time we had you here, and we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about the upcoming 4th of July weekend and all the festivities that are going on in Plymouth, so take it away.
Sure. So as we all know, this coming Monday is 4th of July, and annually the town of Plymouth puts on a great day's events, and so we're going to kick off that day's events down at Stevens Field with a 5K.
With a 5K race?
That's right.
Okay.
And then we'll roll into the parade, which is going to start on Court Street. That's going to start approximately at 9:30 a.m.
Okay.
And
how long does the parade go? What's the route?
The parade's going to come down Court Street, and then it's going to come down the waterfront. There'll be a viewing stand, I believe, in front of the State Park area, and then it'll end.
Yeah.
And then after that, the Plymouth Philharmonic will start their show at 7:30 p.m.
Right, which is a treat every year. Well, it's been every other year, and now I hear it's going to be every year, which is wonderful.
Right, and I've heard great things about it. So
yeah.
I know that the chairman of the committee, the events coordinating committee, Ken Tavares, has talked a lot about it and is very excited that they're coming back.
Yes, and PACTV is really happy that we cover both the parade and the evening festivities of the concert. And then we have to end the night.
So then we'll end the night. We'll have a barge over the water, and we'll end with our firework display, which is supposed to kick off right around 9:15, depending on the sunset.
Right. Now, this whole event, which is actually just one day this year, right? It's all one day on Monday. How much does that cost the town?
Well, it costs for the fireworks and the parade approximately $125,000.
Wow.
And the town stopped funding those two aspects of the 4th of July festivities, I believe, back in the early 80s.
Okay,
and
so how is that paid for now?
So a nonprofit fundraising arm called the July 4 Plymouth took over, and they have been fundraising for well over 30 years so that we can have fireworks and a parade each and every year.
Okay, and are you short of your goal?
So right now, as of today's date, we're about $106,000 we've already have taken in.
Okay.
And the goal is for $125,000.
So we need a little more, so how could people donate?
So it'd be great if folks could go to july4plymouth.com. There they could then, there's a donate online button.
Okay.
And so we'll be taking donations, or the fundraising group will be taking donations right up until the 4th of July.
Great, okay. It's gonna be a wonderful day. The weather looks great. Come to Plymouth for a wonderful time. The couple of the things we wanted to talk about was the state boat ramp and the update on that.
Sure. So the state boat ramp is a project that started about a month ago down in the waterfront area. Many folks in the area know that's where they launch their boats, right? Well, unfortunately, there's been a number of construction delays that's happened, and so we continue to receive a lot of phone calls. When can folks get their boat in the water?
Right.
Other places they can go to get their boat in the water. Unfortunately, it's not a town project.
Right.
It's actually a project that's being run by the state.
Have they given you an ETA?
Well, right now, so I guess the problem is they were having problems dewatering the site in order to then construct the new boat ramp.
Right.
So that's called like in-place casting.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that was the delay. And they notified us last week that that's still a problem.
Okay.
So the next step is they're going to do something called precast. Because they can't do the dewatering process, and because of that, now that has to be designed. The precast has to be designed.
So we kind of go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, so we go go back to the drawing board. So right now, tentatively, they're thinking with the new drawings and then the construction process, they're hoping by the end of August, which is the tail end of the summer. But once it's done, it'll be a great new boat ramp. We won't have to worry about it for years to come.
Okay, and in our last 30 seconds or so, how about the update on the T-Wharf?
So as many, when you go down to the waterfront, you see these large construction arms crane that
Yeah.
are doing a lot of work. The pilings are in.
Yeah.
They're going to start construction on the T-Wharf very soon. We're hoping that this project, right now it's on time, we're hoping that this project will be complete by the end of this calendar year.
Great, great.
So
okay.
we'll have a brand new T-Wharf.
We're getting ready. We're getting ready for 2020.
That's exactly right.
All right. Great. Terrific. Thank you for being here. We hope to have you back again.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the show. More information is at PACTV.org, and be sure to follow us on social media for previews, links, and behind-the-scenes fun. PCN is off next week for the 4th of July, but we're back on July 14th for more local stories. Have a fun and safe holiday.